Amelia Earhart, the trailblazing aviator, vanished in 1937 during her bold attempt to fly around the world. With just 7,000 miles remaining, Earhart and her navigator, Fred Noonan, disappeared over the Pacific Ocean without a trace. Despite extensive searches and decades of speculation, her fate remains one of aviation's greatest unsolved mysteries. What truly happened during her final flight? Stay until the end to explore the latest insights into this enduring enigma. Amelia Earhart was born on July 24, 1897, in Atchison, Kansas. Her parents, Edwin and Amy Earhart, welcomed her with joy, though it was tinged with lingering grief. Just a year earlier, they had lost a child who was stillborn. Despite this heartbreak, the Earharts remained hopeful, and Amelia quickly revealed herself to be energetic, curious, and fearless. Raised largely in the home of her grandfather, Alfred Otis, a respected judge and former college president, Amelia's upbringing was anything but typical. Otis held strict values and disapproved of his daughter Amy's marriage to Edwin, a lawyer whose career struggles and alcoholism created ongoing family tension. Yet these difficulties never dampened Amelia's adventurous spirit. Nicknamed Millie, Amelia and her younger sister Grace, known as Pidge, were inseparable. Amelia often led their daring exploits, which included climbing trees, hunting rats with rifles, and exploring the outdoors. Their mother encouraged this free-spirited behavior, much to the frustration of their grandmother. While most girls wore dresses, Amelia and Grace wore bloomers for freedom of movement, an early sign of Amelia's resistance to traditional gender roles. One of Amelia's most memorable childhood adventures involved a homemade ram inspired by a roller coaster she had seen. Built atop the family tool shed with the help of her uncle, it served as her first flight. The attempt ended in a crash, but the thrill left a lasting impression. In 1907, the Earhart family moved to Des Moines, Iowa, where Amelia saw her first airplane at a state fair. Ironically, the old rusted biplane failed to impress her. She preferred the merry-go-round instead. Still, as life often proves, seeds planted early sometimes bloom much later. As her father's alcoholism worsened, the family's financial stability collapsed, forcing frequent moves in search of security. Eventually, they settled in Chicago. There, Amelia attended Hyde Park High School, where she felt isolated but remained focused, graduating in 1916. Even then, her ambitions were evident. She kept a scrapbook filled with newspaper clippings about women succeeding in male-dominated fields, quietly imagining her own future. Amelia briefly enrolled at Ogon School in Pennsylvania, but left before graduating. Instead, she volunteered as a nurse's aide in Toronto during World War I. There, she cared for wounded soldiers and encountered military pilots, an experience that ignited her growing fascination with aviation. In 1918, during the Spanish flu pandemic, Amelia fell seriously ill. Her recovery was long and painful, leaving her with chronic sinus problems that would trouble her for the rest of her life. During this period of convalescence, she read extensively and developed an interest in mechanics, skills that would later prove invaluable. The turning point came in the early 1920s at an air show in Toronto. Watching a pilot perform a daring dive, Amelia felt an inexplicable pull toward the sky. That feeling became undeniable in 1920, when she took her first passenger flight in California. "By the time I had got 200 or 300 feet off the ground," she later recalled, "I knew I had to fly." Amelia soon began flight lessons under the guidance of Netta Snook, one of the era's pioneering female aviators. She worked multiple jobs to pay for her training, while her mother offered cautious financial support. In 1921, Amelia purchased her first airplane, a bright yellow Kinner Airster she affectionately named the Canary. Her first solo flight marked a personal triumph. To make her new leather flying coat look less stiff and new, she even slept in it. On October 22, 1922, Amelia set a world record by flying to an altitude of 14,000 feet. The following year, she became the 16th woman in the United States to earn a pilot's license. Her transformation from a curious Kansas child into a rising aviation pioneer was well underway, fueled by relentless determination and a deep love for flight. However, her journey was not without setbacks. In the mid-1920s, a failed investment in a gypsum mine wiped out the inheritance her mother had been managing. With her finances depleted, Amelia was forced to sell the Canary and another aircraft. She later purchased a yellow Kissel Goldbug automobile, which she nicknamed the Yellow Peril. This period marked one of the lowest points in her life. Persistent sinus problems led to another surgery in 1924, one that proved unsuccessful. With her aviation dreams temporarily grounded, Amelia experimented with other ventures, including starting a photography business. None brought lasting success, but her resolve never faded. Though sidelined, Amelia Earhart's passion for flight remained unbroken. The skies still called to her, and soon she would answer in ways the world would never forget. In 1924, following her parents' divorce, Amelia Earhart and her mother set out on a transcontinental road trip in the bright yellow Kissel automobile she called the Yellow Peril. Their journey took them across the western United States with a detour into Alberta, Canada, before finally bringing them to Boston, Massachusetts. While in Boston, Amelia underwent yet another sinus operation, this time with lasting success. After recovering, she briefly returned to Columbia University, but ongoing financial hardship forced her to abandon her studies once again. Her mother could no longer afford the tuition, and Amelia needed to support herself. She found work first as a teacher and later as a social worker at Dennison House, a settlement house in Boston. Though money was tight, Amelia's passion for aviation never wavered. She joined the Boston chapter of the American Aeronautical Society and quickly rose to the position of vice president. She flew regularly out of Dennison Airport in Quincy, Massachusetts, even investing a small sum to help keep the airfield operational. In 1927, she made the airport's first official flight. Amelia also became a sales representative for Kinner Aircraft in the Boston area and began writing newspaper columns that promoted aviation and flying safety. Her visibility continued to grow, and she started laying the groundwork for an organization dedicated to supporting women pilots. Her major breakthrough came in the wake of Charles Lindbergh's historic solo flight across the Atlantic in 1927. Amy Guest, a wealthy patron and aspiring aviator, wanted to sponsor the first transatlantic flight by a woman. Ultimately deciding the journey was too dangerous for herself, Guest resolved to fund another woman, someone with the right skill, character, and public image. In April 1928, while at work, Amelia received a life-changing phone call from Captain Hilton Rayleigh. He asked a simple but extraordinary question. Would you like to fly across the Atlantic? After a series of interviews with project organizers, including publisher George P. Putnam, Amelia was selected to join pilot Wilmer Stoltz and co-pilot Louis Gordon on the historic flight. Although her role would be that of a passenger, responsible primarily for keeping the flight log, the opportunity was monumental. On June 17, 1928, the crew departed from Trepassey Harbor, Newfoundland, aboard a Fokker F.7B named Friendship. After 20 hours and 40 minutes in the air, they landed at Bury Port, South Wales. Amelia later downplayed her contribution, famously saying, "Stoltz did all the flying. Had to. I was just baggage, like a sack of potatoes." But she added with quiet resolve, "Maybe someday I'll try it alone." The public reaction was electric. On June 19, 1928, Amelia received a hero's welcome in Southampton, England. During her stay, she flew an Avro Avian owned by Irish aviator Lady Mary Heath, and later purchased the aircraft, having it shipped back to the United States. When the flight team returned to America on July 6th, they were greeted with a ticker tape parade through Manhattan and an official reception at the White House with President Calvin Coolidge. Amelia's resemblance to Lindbergh earned her the nickname Lady Lindy, and the press quickly crowned her the Queen of the Air. Her newfound fame led to an exhausting lecture tour, carefully managed by George Putnam. Amelia authored a book, continued touring, and appeared in advertisements for products ranging from luggage to Lucky Strike cigarettes, an endorsement that sparked controversy even at the time. Still, she used much of her income to support aviation causes, including a donation to Commander Richard Byrd's South Pole expedition. Putnam's promotional strategy transformed Amelia into a cultural icon. Yet she wasn't merely a figurehead. She actively participated in marketing campaigns, particularly those aimed at modern, active women. For years, she had sewn her own clothes, but now she began designing practical fashion lines sold in major department stores. Her luggage brand, Amelia Earhart Luggage, became especially popular, reflecting her functional, adventurous philosophy. These endorsements helped finance her flying ambitions. Amelia also became an associate editor at Cosmopolitan magazine, using her platform to advocate for aviation and greater opportunities for women in the field. In 1929, she was appointed by Transcontinental Air Transport to promote commercial air travel, especially among women, and played a role in establishing the first regional air shuttle between New York and Washington, D.C. She later served as a vice president of National Airways, contributing to the growth of several airlines across the northeastern United States. Amelia's competitive spirit drew her to air racing as well. In 1929, she competed in the Women's Air Derby, nicknamed the Powder Puff Derby by Will Rogers, finishing third in the heavy aircraft division. The race was marred by tragedy when her close friend Ruth Nichols was forced to withdraw following an accident. By 1930, Amelia had become an official of the National Aeronautic Association, where she championed women's aviation records and worked with the Fédération Aéronautique Internationale to help establish standardized international guidelines for recognizing those achievements. In 1931, Amelia Earhart set a new world altitude record, reaching 18,415 feet in a Pitcairn PCA-2 autogyro. Around this time, she became deeply involved with the 99s, an organization of female pilots she had helped bring together. After calling an initial meeting of women aviators in 1929, Amelia played a central role in shaping the group and became its first president in 1930. She emerged as a powerful advocate for women in aviation, and when the 1934 Bendix Trophy race barred female competitors, Amelia publicly refused to take part, drawing national attention to the discrimination. Her personal life was also evolving. In 1928, Amelia ended an engagement to chemical engineer Samuel Chapman. She soon grew closer to her publisher and manager, George P. Putnam, who finalized his divorce in 1929. Putnam proposed to Amelia 6 times before she finally accepted. They married on February 7, 1931, in a ceremony Amelia later described as a partnership with dual control. On her wedding day, Amelia wrote Putnam a candid letter expressing her need for independence. She made it clear she would not conform to traditional expectations of marriage, insisting on equality and personal freedom. Her progressive views and her decision to keep her own surname were far ahead of their time. There was no honeymoon. Amelia's schedule was packed with promotional tours for autogyros and commercial endorsements, including beech nut chewing gum. Despite this, she and Putnam formed a strong and enduring partnership. Amelia also became a stepmother to Putnam's 2 sons from his previous marriage. Though the couple never had children together, she was particularly close to his eldest son David, who often visited their home. Following her 1928 transatlantic crossing, Amelia's life became a whirlwind of fame and aviation milestones. On May 20, 1932, at the age of 34, she launched her most daring challenge yet. Taking off from Harbor Grace, Newfoundland, she aimed to replicate Charles Lindbergh's solo flight to Paris. Her aircraft, a single-engine Lockheed Vega 5B, was prepared by her technical advisor, Bernd Balchen, who posed as if he were readying the plane for an Arctic expedition to divert press attention. The flight across the Atlantic was grueling. Amelia battled fierce winds, icy conditions, and mechanical problems for nearly 15 hours. After 14 hours and 56 minutes in the air, she landed in a pasture near Culmore, Northern Ireland. When local farmhands asked if she had flown far, her response was both simple and historic: from America. With that landing, Amelia Earhart became the first woman to fly solo, non-stop across the Atlantic Ocean. She was awarded numerous honors, including the Distinguished Flying Cross from the U.S., Congress, France's Cross of the Knight of the Legion of Honor, and the National Geographic Society's Gold Medal, presented by President Herbert Hoover. Her fame now extended far beyond aviation circles. Amelia formed a close friendship with First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt, bonded by their shared commitment to women's rights. She also developed a lasting relationship with fellow aviator Jacqueline Cochran, though their dynamic would later become competitive. Amelia continued to push boundaries. On January 11, 1935, she became the first person to fly solo from Honolulu, Hawaii to Oakland, California, successfully completing a transoceanic route that had claimed multiple lives during the ill-fated 1927 Dole Air race. Remarkably, the flight was smooth enough that Amelia listened to a Metropolitan Opera broadcast along the way. Later that year, she flew her Lockheed Vega from Los Angeles to Mexico City, then from Mexico City to New York, setting additional speed and distance records. She also competed in the 1935 Bendix Trophy race, finishing fifth. Although her Vega was outmatched by faster, purpose-built racing aircraft, her participation underscored her competitive drive. Between 1930 and 1935, Amelia set 7 women's aviation records for speed and distance. Yet by 1935, she recognized that her beloved Lockheed Vega, nicknamed Old Bessie, the Fire Horse, was no longer suited for the ambitious transoceanic flights she envisioned. Her focus turned toward an unprecedented goal, flying around the world along a route close to the equator. In late 1934, a fire at the Putnam's home in Rye destroyed many of Amelia's personal belongings. Combined with George Putnam's decision to sell his publishing interests and accept a new role at Paramount Pictures, the loss prompted a major life change. The couple relocated to the West Coast, settling in a modest home in Toluca Lake, California, near Hollywood studios and key aviation hubs. In 1935, Amelia partnered with Hollywood's stunt pilot Paul Mantz to establish the Earhart-Mantz Flying School at Burbank Airport. That same year, she joined Purdue University as a visiting faculty member, advising female students on career paths and serving as a technical consultant to the university's Department of Aeronautics. Amelia Earhart was no longer just a record-breaking pilot. She had become a symbol of progress, determination, and possibility. And her most daring journey was still ahead. In early 1936, Amelia Earhart began planning the most ambitious journey of her career, a flight around the world. Purdue University funded the purchase of a Lockheed Electra 10E, an advanced aircraft that Amelia referred to as her flying laboratory. The plane was extensively modified, fitted with additional fuel tanks to allow for long-distance transoceanic travel. Initially, Captain Harry Manning, an experienced navigator and radio operator, was selected to accompany her. However, after a navigation error during a test flight, Amelia and George Putnam sought additional expertise. Fred Noonan, a highly skilled navigator from Pan American Airways with extensive experience in both marine and aerial navigation, joined the team. His skills were considered essential, especially for the demanding Pacific portion of the route. The original plan had Manning navigating as far as Australia, but after further testing, he was removed from the crew, leaving only Amelia and Noonan for the flight. The first attempt at circumnavigating the globe began on March 17, 1937. Amelia, Noonan, Manning, and pilot Paul Mantz departed from Oakland in California, heading for Honolulu, Hawaii. Mechanical issues delayed their progress, and during takeoff from Luke Field in Hawaii, the Electra suffered a severe ground loop crash. The aircraft was badly damaged, forcing the mission to be abandoned. Undeterred, Amelia and Putnam secured additional funding and prepared for a second attempt. This time, they reversed course, choosing to fly west to east. The journey began quietly with a flight from Oakland to Miami. On June 1, 1937, Amelia publicly announced her world flight plans. Soon after, she and Noonan departed Miami, making stops across South America, Africa, India, and Southeast Asia. By June 29, 1937, they arrived in Leyte, New Guinea. At that point, they had completed roughly 22,000 miles of the journey. Only 7,000 miles remained, most of it across the vast and unforgiving Pacific Ocean. On July 2, 1937 at 10 a.m., Amelia Earhart and Fred Noonan took off from Ley, bound for Howland Island, a tiny, isolated speck of land in the Pacific. It was the longest and most dangerous leg of the entire journey. The U.S. Coast Guard cutter Itasca was stationed near Howland to assist with radio communication and navigation. Throughout the flight, Itasca received several radio transmissions from Amelia, though she appeared unable to hear their responses. At 6:14 a.m., she reported being within 200 miles of Howland Island and requested a directional bearing. Her final confirmed transmission, received at 7:58 a.m., stated that they were flying along a navigational line but could not locate the island. After that, all contact was lost. Within an hour, the U.S. government launched the largest search operation in American history at the time. Thousands of square miles of ocean were scoured by ships and aircraft, but no trace of the Electra or its crew was ever found. Over the decades, countless theories have emerged. The most widely accepted explanation remains that Amelia Noonan ran out of fuel and crashed into the Pacific Ocean. In 2024, new hope emerged in the decades-long quest to solve the Amelia Earhart mystery. Ocean exploration company Deep Sea Vision announced a potential breakthrough after sonar scans revealed what appeared to be aircraft remains on the ocean floor near Howland Island, more than 16,000 feet below the surface. Using advanced sonar imaging, Deep Sea Vision surveyed over 5,200 square miles of ocean floor with a 16-person crew and a Kongsberg Discovery Hogan 6,000 autonomous underwater vehicle. Footage of the discovery was shared publicly, reigniting global interest and speculation over whether the object could be Amelia Earhart's lost Lockheed Electra 10E, missing for nearly 87 years. Experts, however, urge caution. Dorothy Cochran, curator at the Smithsonian National Air and Space Museum, noted that while the sonar image was intriguing, photographic confirmation would be essential before drawing conclusions. Anthropologist Richard Johns, who previously re-examined human remains found on Nikumaroro Island, remained unconvinced, stating that unless the wreckage is definitively identified as Earhart's aircraft, his belief that she perished on Nikumaroro still stands. Even more skeptical was Richard Gillespie, founder of the International Group for Historic Aircraft Recovery. He argued that the sonar image lacks key features of the Electra and more closely resembles a U.S. Navy aircraft. A longtime proponent of the Nikumaroro theory, Gillespie dismissed the find as unrelated to Amelia Earhart's plane. Despite the conflicting opinions, the Deep Sea Vision discovery reignited public fascination with one of history's greatest mysteries. Since her disappearance, Amelia Earhart's story has captivated the world. Each new clue, whether it brings answers or deepens the mystery, keeps her legacy alive. Amelia Earhart's life was defined by courage, innovation, and an unyielding pursuit of dreams. Her legacy endures not just as a pioneering aviator, but as a symbol of determination and human curiosity. The mystery of her final flight remains unsolved, but her impact on history, aviation, and inspiration is undeniable.